What's up, guys? Iceman here. Welcome to the path of Exile Research Institution. Appreciate y'all for coming by. Like this video if you will. Subscribe to the page. And swat that bell so you're notified next time I post a video. And blessings to my patrons. Links in the description below. And may you have many wives. Those who support the research. Speaking of which, point number 1. Things you need to do before getting on PoE 2. Abstain from any sexual activity. That's right now. Iceman. They'll marvel at this. Why would you abstain from sexual activity? Iceman, how are your wives handling that? They're fine. Yeah, they miss me. Yeah, they want it. But they understand that this is part of the code. So basically, I've been standing there at night just watching them sleep, along with my dog. And I haven't been involved in any endeavors, well, since yesterday, but I don't intend to do it today. No more sexual endeavors until this fucking game releases, the early access anyway, and the ball gets rolling, you know what I mean? So at least through tomorrow, stay away from that bullshit, abstain from it. You have to have a clear mind when you go into this, so I'm going to refuse any of that sort of interaction whatsoever. And I recommend you do the same. Technically, point number 1 on this list, buy it. So PoE 2 releases tomorrow, the early access, December 6th, 11 a.m. California time. So I'm in Michigan, so that's 3 hours ahead, 11, 12, 1, 2 o'clock p.m. for me, Eastern time. And I'm going to be playing it then. I think we can start downloading it earlier than that, I assume. But I think it's worth purchasing the early access. The actual game, I think, is going to release several months later with more content. But there's quite a bit of content in this early access, to my understanding. And it's good to support this company. We know that they have a good reputation. PoE 1 has just a ton of content. The last update they did was bigger than anything we get with Diablo 4. Like, the expansion included in everything. They just did some free update where it's basically a vast bullshit that it far exceeds what we got with the expansion for Diablo 4. In terms of content, variety, and everything else. Point number 2 on the list. No guides. So I've said this in previous videos, how guides really ruin the spiritual journey in video games. And this harkens way back to the days of Sonic the Hedgehog and GoldenEye 007, although that's a bad example because GoldenEye, you actually had to work and earn the cheat codes unless you had a Game Shark. But if you had a Game Shark, you ruined it, so I guess the same sort of principle applies. These sort of games aren't as challenging when it's just a bunch of numbers and shit. Yeah, you have the roll effect in PoE, so that adds some skill. But with that being said, most of it is just a number crunch, you know? So a guide, in a sense, is cheating because there's not much skill involved. The skill is just figuring out the numbers and shit and then just button mashing or whatever. So it's to a lesser extent with PoE 2 because there's combos and stuff like that you can do, and you can roll like all the time and make yourself invulnerable for a split second or whatever. But even with that being said, the guides are an element, as far as I see it, as ruining it for you. All right. Now, I've been to the top. You guys know, I've said in my previous videos, you climb that ladder, the envy of others. You climb that ladder just watching all these fucking guides and shit, just trying to be the best of the best or whatever. It's burning up there, man. And it never ends. So whether or not you're here or here on the ladder, it doesn't really make a difference. And it's illusionary to think that your boys or other people online or whatever, that their opinion really matters. Whether or not they envy you or not, or think that you suck dick, you know what I mean? It really, it only affects your mind. And this journey is about a renewal. So with that being said, all those things they're not just distractions. They're destructive. All right. You're here, man. You're here right now. And if you try to cheat or wiggle your way up there, you're going to ruin the immersion. You know, a lot of the excitement and endorphin rushes and dopamine boosts and all that bullshit come from the discovery They come from the adventure. And there's no discovery when you've already discovered all this bullshit watching it on another video. You see what I'm saying? Just like back in the day when Diablo 2 released. Wow, what a vast world that was. Even though it seems so small now, more fuel for my case that when you zoom out, whether or not it's you doing it or somebody else, you're just watching it, you're like, oh, that's all that was there? It felt like so much more. And it was so much more in my mind and in my soul. But Diablo 2 is still a great game, and I have a channel where I make videos of that all the time. But nonetheless, no guides, man. I mean, it's fucked up how so many folks do that. Maybe I'm going on a little bit about this point, but it's just so fucking important. I've been to the top, and it's burning, and I've been way down below in that bottomless abyss, and it is despairing down there. All right, so what you want to do is sort of stay in the middle. You want to have a clear mind. Like I said, the sexual abstaining and the maybe no sleep, try that. You know, eat no sugar and shit. You got to take down the inflammation when this shit releases. Just water. Maybe a little bit of dark chocolate for a caffeine boost. Just not very much though. But then when you start playing, all right, no distractions. If you have two screens like what I do, just close whatever the hell's in that screen and read the shit, listen to the shit. Immerse yourself in this spiritual journey. Wow. This very well could be the greatest game released in the last 20 years. You're going to ruin it, man, if you watch those fucking guides. You got to stay somewhere in the gap of the ascension end. Seemingly, there's no end to it. Or the bottomless pit. You got to stay in this sort of harmonic region where there's organicity, you know what I mean? There's freedom of choice. There's, I don't mean to make it sound political, but you know what I mean? I don't mean it in that sense. I just mean freedom of choice, like our minds hasn't been a box built around our fucking minds. You see what I'm saying? Where that box is built when you start zooming out and seeing what all this shit is about. When you start seeing the cogs and the gears and all that shit. Pun intended with this game production company. But yeah, I mean, you're gonna fuck it up. And you guys remember like the thigh gaps? Wasn't that a thing in 2015 or something? That's you got to stay between them, just like that. Between the legs is where you kind of got to remain, where your essence needs to be, because that's where the euphoria is. All right, and your destiny will arrive regardless. So we just need to have you in the right sort of state of mind as you're arriving, as you're ascending, which is why I named this fucking channel that. All right, it's not about the ascension. And it's definitely not about the descending through that fucking abyss. Like I said, it's no fun down there, man. It's about the ascending. All right, and it never ends. So don't try to cut to the fucking chase. Looking at all the unique items. Oh, Iceman, look at this. I found this website. It has all the unique items. Now I spoiled all this fucking bullshit for myself. I know what everything does. I know exactly what I need. No! Find it. Search for it. Hunt for it. Thrive. Gather. Embrace this organic spiritual journey. Point number 3, wisely choose your character. Don't be afraid to experiment. I feel like this happens to me often in these sort of games where I'll make a character and I'll be having a pretty good time, but I'll start looking at the other characters, the other guys in game. I'll start envying them a little bit. This sort of traces back to my other points. So I'm like, oh, wow, that looks fun. Look at that guy just blowing the fuck out of the screen. He's not as vulnerable as my character. Maybe I should try that. And then I'll jump from character to character. It's kind of like a whole playing the cock carousel game, you know? Like the more that she does that, the less happy she is. The more that she jumps from one to the other, to the other, to the other. Like it's kind of fun at first, but it really loses it very soon. Very shortly, the euphoria is gone. So from what I found, when I do that, when I jump from another character to another character, all of a sudden I'm a bit overwhelmed with all this shit. Then you have shit you have to collect for all your characters, and it starts to lose its retention fast. It's like, damn, this just sucks now. I was actually having a better time with the spiritual journey with the first character that I picked. So I just think it's kind of important to do a little bit of research, but not much. All right. I mean, read the shit in the game. You know, when you select your character at the beginning, just read the shit in the game. And with PoE, to my understanding, you can kind of have access to the whole damn skill node tree anyway. So it's not all that relevant who you pick, but just kind of know what you want to do from the beginning. What I want to do, I want to be sort of a magic character with summons. And some of you are saying, well, Iceman, the summon ascendancy isn't going to be a thing until the game actually releases. But maybe there'll be some viability to summons nonetheless. So I don't really know how that's going to work out. Let me know in the comments. I mean, shit, maybe I need some insight right now because there's not much time left. But can I make a decent summoner class with this early access thing? Do you guys have any idea? Can I at least beat the fucking campaign? That's kind of what I'm looking to do. Point number 4 or 5 or whatever. Take it slow. Embrace the atmosphere and fuck all that noise. Just like I said. Shut off the distractions. Put your phone to the side. Don't be listening to music and shit. Listen to the music in the game. All right? And you're going to see what I'm saying, man. This is going to be like what it was back in the day. You know how we all reminisce on the old days? I reminisce on playing Ocarina of Time on my Nintendo 64. And the second I started looking onto the websites and figuring out all the little secrets and shit and all the items you could find, it just seemed so small eventually, and I was like, oh, wow, that's it. Okay, the discovery's gone, the adventure's gone, the ascension is done. And that's not what you want to do. But, like I said, I think this is going to be one of the greatest games in the last 20 years, especially if you allow it to be. So, give me a hell yeah in the comments below if you guys are with me on that. And again, like this video if you will. More videos to come on this. I will be updating you guys on my character build. All right, I'll actually be doing a couple of gameplay videos on this channel. And then you guys can sort of see my spiritual journey. And one who is, you know, not really trying to be as optimal as you can be today when it comes to looking at all the other builds and already having the numbers set out for you. To hopefully, maybe in a subtle sort of way, be an inspiration to others. Where, yeah, you can have a good time with this game. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. You could just take it in strides, take it as it goes, and enjoy the ascending. So I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace be with you.